So fast forward later that evening, we're watching praise and worship because my grandma loves to watch praise and worship. The Spirit of God comes over my grandma, y'all, and my grandma starts to prophesy to me about Reese. Oh my God. So I'm going to tell y'all some of the stuff she said. Some of it I can't say yet, but some of it I can say. And I'm going to tell you the part I can say. She said, the Spirit of God is telling me in the next 5 days, something is going to come out. And in the next 5 days, you're going to know what you need to know about the relationship. Now, listen, I wrote it down. I had my journal in front of me. I had this journal right here. And I wrote down the day and I wrote down the time that she said it because it was Sunday. And I'm like, ooh. So now my heart and my stomach is really in knots because of the stuff she said that I can't tell you yet. I will tell y'all in a future episode. But just that alone was enough for me. My stomach was in knots. Listen, it was Sunday and he was coming up that following weekend. And I'm just like, oh my God. Now, I already decided that I had to tell him that I could no longer be intimate with him anymore, right? Because I wanted to practice celibacy and do what God wanted me to do. Fast forward, he sends me a text message on Friday. And he's like, hey, I'm packing up. I'm going to be to you tomorrow morning between 9:30. And I'm like, okay. Okay, babe. Yeah, I'll see you when you get here. And I found the journal entry. So my grandma, she prophesied to me. It was September 14th, 7:30 p.m. on a Sunday is when she told me the stuff she told me. Now, fast forward later that week, he sends me a text on Friday. Now, I kept trying to figure out the best time to tell him that I had something to talk to him about. Because there's nothing more annoying than when you tell someone you got to tell them something and then they got to wait a whole week. So I did not want to do that. I wanted to be considerate. The other thing was I didn't want him to drive all the way here and then I blindside him. So I kind of came to the conclusion that the best time to tell him was Friday because I'm like, well, Friday, he doesn't have to wait too long. He will be here on Saturday, right? And then we can have a face-to-face conversation. Now, when I sent him that text on Friday, he responded back immediately and said, hey, you can't just throw something like that out there. You got to tell me what's up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to have this conversation. This conversation has to be a face-to-face conversation. So I replied and I said, this is an in-person conversation, a face-to-face. Let's just wait until you get here on Saturday. He calls me and he's like, hey, come on. This isn't fair. I wouldn't do that to you. You got to tell me what we need to talk about. Now, I had an appointment at 7:30, a spa appointment. So I kind of said, oh, shoot. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to have to tell him, but I'm going to call him back after my appointment. So I was in the parking lot. Actually, I was leaving the house, but by the time we spoke, I was in the parking lot for my appointment. And I said, you know what? I'll call you back when I finish my appointment. Now I go in for my spa appointment, but I am so nervous and I'm having a panic attack, really. And I can't sit through the appointment. So I cancel my appointment. I get back in the car and I call him to have the conversation. Oh my God, y'all. So I started off, I'm trying to set it up. I'm nervous because I don't want him to break up with me because it's really the best relationship I've ever had. But I know that I got to choose God, right? So I'm talking to him and I set it up. I'm like, so you remember when you said I should talk to you and I should tell you anything and to always give you the opportunity to respond and don't assume. And I'm going through all the setup and he says, yeah. And I said, well, I need to let you know that I am starting to feel spiritually convicted about sex outside of marriage. And I feel as if what I did was I looked God in the face and I said, hey, God, I really want to be with Reese. So because I want to be with Reese, because I want to be with you, I'm choosing to disobey you, God, and I'm going to do what I have to do to keep this relationship with you. And I tried to explain it to him that way so that he could understand the gravity of what I had done. Because really, that's what I done. I really looked out in the face and said, hey, God, I know, I feel guilty, or I feel like this is something you don't want me to do, but I want this relationship. So I'm choosing to disobey you, to do what I got to do to keep this man. And it just got to the point where it's like, I can't do that anymore. And trying to explain that to him, he was not getting it. He was not on board. We talked for an hour. So I don't want to make this an hour play for play of everything that we said in that conversation. But when I told him that I felt convicted and I couldn't continue that way anymore, he said, so I cannot continue in this relationship. Because his words to me were, a relationship without intimacy is not a relationship, it's a friendship. And my heart broke into a million pieces because that's what I feared. I was hoping for the best. I was preparing for the worst, but my preparation for the worst still did not prepare me for how I felt when I heard him say that. And I'm trying to convince him. I'm talking to him like, there's so many other levels and layers to relationships and intimacy that don't involve sex. Like, why don't we just try? Why can't you just give it a try? Why can't we just try to build our relationship in other areas of intimacy? And he's just like, no. He said, no, I can't do it. He said, I wouldn't be true to myself. He told me that a relationship without intimacy wasn't a relationship. It was just a friendship. He said, even at a deeper level, it's just the best friendship, which is why he said he didn't like male best friends. He also went on to say that he was very disappointed that our relationship wasn't going to work because we were perfect and it was going to be a long time for us to find other people who we matched with as well as we matched with each other. He told me that he loved me. And it was just, we were making so many plans. We were making holiday plans. We were making plans for what we were going to do for Thanksgiving. And I was going to drive up with him to meet his family. Like, everything just crashed in that moment. And I was just so destroyed. I was so heartbroken. And we got off the phone with like I love you. I always think about you. Don't have anything negative to say about you. But I just know that if I'm in a relationship without sex, that is going to end up being me resenting you or me not being, me feeling as if I'm not getting out of the relationship, the investment and the time that I'm putting into it. And for me to have to wait for some arbitrary, unknown future date is just not something I can do. Listen, y'all, I was so crushed. So I leave the parking lot. I'm trying to see through my tears. I'm trying to drive through my tears. I'm trying to hold it together. And I called my best friend and I'm like, he broke, I'm just doing the silent cry. He broke out with me. I remember my best friend, he said, no, what happened? We went through all that, but I was talking to him, driving to my mom's house. I just needed to get to a point where I can get out of the car and stop crying or start crying. So I get to my mom's house. I walk in the door and I just fall apart. I have not cried that much ever in my adult life that I can remember, to be honest with you. I cried and sobbed, and my mom's her shirt was soaking wet with tears and snot. And she was concerned because I don't really cry. So she knew something was wrong. And she's looking at my sister and like, what's wrong? What's going on? You got to tell me something. And I'm just crying and I'm inconsolable. My heart was broken. It was the best relationship I'd ever been in. I connected with him more than I connected with anyone else. It would have been easy if I wasn't attracted to him. It would have been easy if the chemistry wasn't there. It would have been easy if I had found out something terrible, but none of those things were giving me closure. In that moment, it just felt like I just lost the best relationship I've ever been in. And I instantly regretted it. I instantly wanted to take back everything I said because I still was in a place where I'm like, I'm not even sure if this whole celibacy thing is necessary. And I just lost the best relationship I've ever been in. So, my mom and sister, they were trying to console me. They couldn't console me. They could not leave me. I cried the entire night. So much so, they had to come to my house and sleep in the bed with me. My mom slept at the top. My sister slept at the foot of the bed. And I just cried all night. I just cried. There was nothing they could do. There was nothing they could say to make me feel better. I just cried and cried and cried and cried. And they were there because I couldn't be left alone. Now, fast forward to the next morning, my mom and sister, they go home, and listen, this is the part, y'all, where no one was around, so I could be totally honest. No one was around. And when I tell you, I was laid out on the floor, crying out, screaming, like crying out everything that was in my heart. And I started talking to God. I was like, God, like, what is it? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? God, what am I supposed to believe? Do you have soulmates for us or don't you? Do you have someone for me or not? Is it up to me to choose someone, or do you have someone for me? I don't know what to believe. And as I'm crying out and I'm confessing, I'm also talking to God about the reason I don't believe that he has someone for me. And it all came out that in my tears, it's like I'm surrounded by people, surrounded by Christians who say, God sent me my husband, God sent me my wife, only for them to still be divorced. Right? So it's like I'm looking at people who are testifying and they got all these miracles and they're testifying about all these signs that happen. And the signs that happen, those are the reasons that they know that this person is their wife. And this is how they know God sent them their wife and their husband. And they still ended up divorced. And I'm like, God, what is that? So were they lying or were they telling the truth? And if they were telling the truth and if they still ended up divorced, what's the point of me waiting on you to send me somebody if you can send me somebody and we still end up divorced anyway? Y'all, I am going in on the floor crying and sobbing this. And I'm like, God, I don't even know, like, what's the point? Like, does he have to be Christian? I don't believe that the man has to be Christian. Because I was married to a Christian man, and it was the worst relationship I have ever been in my life. And I'm seeing people who are married to men who are not Christian, and they have a happy marriage. I'm seeing people who they don't have the same religion, but they're happy together. So I don't even know if this is something that you are requiring of me or something that I'm just practicing because it's what I've been taught, but it doesn't even work. It's a misinterpretation of your word, or it's old law that people are passing down that doesn't apply anymore. And then I'm crying. I'm like, and what's up with the whole celibacy thing? I'm like, because is this something that's still required of me? Because it don't seem like it's working, Jesus. And I'm crying, y'all. Like I can't hold it in no more. And I'm confessing and I'm talking to God and I'm saying, because God, I'm looking around, there's Christians who sleep together, who live together, who take trips together, and they still get married and they happy and they still blessed. Everybody I know who is married, who's been married for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they slept together before they got married and their marriage is still blessed. Whereas I tried to do the right thing and wait until I was married and wait for my husband to be the first person, the only person I ever been with. And I still ended up in the worst relationship of my life and he still left. I'm trying to be celibate and trying to follow this law and I'm losing good men. And Christians who ain't even following it are still ended up married and happy because they are having sex. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I just need to know what to believe. I'm crying out. I'm like, God, I just need to know what to believe. I just need to know, is it necessary for him to be Christian or not? Is it necessary for me to wait until I'm married to have sex or not? Do you still have someone for us? Is that a thing that you do? Do you still have soulmates for us? Do you still pick and choose to send people for us or not? God, I just need an answer. Whatever the answer is, I just need to know, because I need to know what to believe, because I can't keep doing this. Y'all, that was my cry. I'm talking tears, sobbing. I'm literally on the floor while I'm praying this. I'm on my knees on the floor, face down, wet with tears, crying out. I'm like, God, just give me a sign, something. Listen, I got myself up after I was crying, and I sat on the side of the bed, and I was trying to sing, because they say, like, if you sing and if you praise and worship through your tears, I could not utter a word. Like, I was like, I just couldn't, right? And I'm sitting there, and guess what? It was almost like God needed me to confess how I really felt so that he could talk to me. God was waiting for me to confess what I really felt so that he could answer. Because what I learned and what I'm about to share with you taught me that you can't get an answer to a question you never asked. You can't get an answer to questions you are in denial about having, right? Because I was in a place where I didn't want to say all that stuff, because saying it out loud just sounds wrong. Like saying I don't believe anymore, that doesn't sound good. Saying that I don't believe in this Christian, wait until you're married to have sex, he got to be a Christian man type stuff. Like, I didn't want to say that out loud. And then when you do say it out loud, you get people who just throw Bible verses at you, but they don't address the real reason why I had even come to that conclusion, right? So I was just kind of holding it in and moving around as if I believed in it still, but I didn't. And listen, when I cried out, and I was just all cried out, y'all, all teared out, it was like God was like, honey, now I can talk to you. Now let's have a conversation. And the first thing, listen, y'all, God started speaking to me supernaturally. God started answering immediately. I have never had a Holy Ghost experience like this in my life. And the answers God gave me is why I am on this camera sharing those answers with you, because I know that me sharing what God told me is with the answers that you need too. And listen to me well, because what I'm telling you moving forward are all the answers that God gave me to everything I cried out. And the first thing he said was, thank you so much for allowing me to share my story with you. Next week, I cannot wait to share with you all of the answers that God gave me to all of my questions. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications when next week's message is released. And also, please share this message with any woman who you believe will be blessed by it. And I'll see you next week.